I have never had a single episode of salmonella transmission due to my animals. But go to a grocery store, rub your fingers along the cellophane of all that meat. You know what your chances of getting salmonella and E. coli are? Far more than touching my animals. But we go into grocery stores, happy music, everybody's happy, never thinking about the biohazard that exists. I mean, celebrate.
Here's a mangrove snake, and this is a Boega divergens. This is from Palo Island off basically Philippines. And this is one of our animals that we're raising, and we're pretty excited about these. These, of course, are little rear fang snake, but they're generally pretty placid. They do come to life at night, but a very, very pretty animal indeed. Very rare. This is a future project we're pretty excited about raising, and he's very unsure of me, so what he'll do is he'll start to flatten his head. Pretty much this is like an animal to be observed, not really an animal that you mess with too much. It probably stresses them out a little bit, but they're just so beautiful. They're gonna get this awesome blue. It's just starting to come in, and anybody that's ever had time to actually keep Boega, such as mangrove snakes and stuff like that, they're a really unique animal. They're kind of fascinating, and one of the problems is we don't really get to see many captive ones. So seeing some nice captive born ones is just, it's pretty unusual. And this type is just like the top of the heap. Let's see, my buddy. He's telling me that's about as much as I'm gonna get away with. Their caging is pretty simplistic. These guys, if you have a deep substrate bed of like cypress mulch and moss, and you can basically achieve humidity that way, and then you want to give them an area where they can come off the substrate and basically dry off, because sometimes animals, even though they require humidity and such, they don't want to be wet, and they'll get bacterial and fungal infections. You'll start getting blister type disease, or crusty scales. Any kind of necrotic scalation is bad on these guys. So the trick is to keep them humid but clean, and give them a way that they can just dry out. And you can see this animal doing exactly this. These guys are big time arboreal, so they have prehensile tail. So they'd spend a great amount of time up in the trees, up in the canopy on the edge of waterways as they hunt. And these guys, I think in the wild, would pretty much eat anything. That's amphibians, lizards, fish, all sorts of mammals, and birds and such. But very, very cool animal, very cryptic in nature. So you can kind of see like a basic setup here. But this works great. Got ventilation on each end, and just size it. They don't really have a huge impact on the cage, so you can give them a nice big cage, and the upkeep is rather minimal.
Many days I walk in on Kevin just like sitting here in the dark in his ball python room, and I don't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know if he's talking. He's just in the dark, everybody. What are you doing in there?
Breeding snakes.
You're breeding snakes? You trying to think math equations out?
Trying to think it through.
But you don't need the light though, because you like to be left alone in here, is that what it is?
I guess so. I think if I leave the light on, it attracts people.
Well, and you don't want to pay the bill.
Trying to figure out all the different genes that you're going to pair up. Try to think, I want to make something cool that I've never made before. That's literally it. And we have so many genes now, so you have to be really careful about what genes are reacting to each other.
Sounds very important. I'll leave you to it. Alright, so Johnny just got bit by a snake. He's okay though, but he did sterilize it with iodine. Yes, gotta have this on site. Johnny's a little grumpy. He's happy. Are you okay, man? I see he crunched. He crunched you. Yeah, I heard it. I wish I had filmed that.
How the system works. What is incredibly alarming to me is, why punish a sector of pet keepers, being birds, reptiles, amphibians, fish, and small animals, by basically constraining their activities, needlessly causing a massive burden on our government financially, the resources, the personnel, and the level of extensive training that these inspectors are going to need, if they want to come and inspect the multitude of reptile hobbyists that are keeping these animals often in remarkable fashions where the quality of their knowledge is so intense. A common inspector could not come into their house, look at these animals, and even understand what they're looking at. Certainly not knowing what the species are or understanding if these animals are in a problematic state. So my understanding is this law is designed to further prevent animal cruelty and worry about the welfare of animals. I am the biggest animal lover you can imagine. My entire life is dedicated to animals, nothing but education. I write books. I'm a 4-time published author. I work with New Hampshire Fish and Game. I'm the rattlesnake expert. And to listen to the thought of the state agency wanting to expand itself to come into the lives and the homes of these people that are in our sector of birds, reptiles, amphibians and such, where we're not having crises, we're not finding these horrible situations, and they're not flooding basically shelters, but to start coming in there and policing them, I cannot understand. And what's interesting, why should we be policed when we're not required to have health certificates? Health certificates are basically to make sure that the animal is healthy, it's free of disease that could possibly be passed on to the keeper and to other animals and obviously spread into the environment. What was interesting, somebody brought up when they heard reptiles, salmonella. That is an incredible misnomer. I have at any given time 20-something employees working for me. I have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of animal exposures because we do educational shows. So people touch my animals. They're touching them, leaving their biofilm on my relatively clean animals. And what is really interesting is when you listen to the Humane Society, they will do anything they can to basically cause public outcry and fear. It's literal fear-mongering, and it is incredibly offensive to somebody with me, with my quality of information that I know and I understand, to have to sit there and listen to people being misled by people that know very little of what they're talking about. It's literally offensive. Back to salmonella. I have never had a single episode of salmonella transmission due to my animals. But go to a grocery store, rub your fingers along the cellophane of all that meat. You know what your chances of getting salmonella and E. coli are? Far more than touching my animals. But we go into grocery stores, happy music, everybody's happy, never thinking about the biohazard that exists underneath cellophane. And it is basically incredible. But one thing I do want to point out. So, over the years, dealing with the public, I have to, every day, deal with the public scrutiny. People coming into my facility, an interpreted problem. Guess who they call? They call the Department of Agriculture. They talk to Stephen Crawford or one of his employees. They also call health officer of my town. They'll call the building inspector. They'll call Fish and Game. They'll call animal control. And guess what? They have to come out and respond. They come into my building, and we have to take them through, try to figure out what they're actually there for. I'm going to give you a couple examples. Kevin, we heard you have dead mice all over the floor. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, there's some cat mice behind the counter because somebody knocked over the container. Therefore, those are not dead mice. Oh, Kevin, you have a bird with a giant tumor in your pet store, and it's just sitting there dying and shivering. Oh, it's a hand-fed baby bird that doesn't even have its adult plumage. It has a full crop of food, so that's how you feed them, so you can see this big crop. It's not a tumor, it's a very healthy bird. Oh, you have a dead bird hanging out of the cage. No, it's a little stuffed companion bird to keep my other birds company. Kevin, you're keeping cats in fish tanks. Kevin this, Kevin that. There's all these different things. We even had where the health officer of Plastow and the building inspector called me out and said, Kevin, we're getting complaints. And I'm like, okay, Michael, what are your complaints? We understand you have dead animals all over your store. Your place smells like death. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like my store? And he says, yes. He's like, what? I haven't been in there for a while. What is going on? I was completely perplexed. I said, Michael, come here right now. He and the health inspector, so this building inspector and health inspector, came to my place within 10 minutes. Let's check it out. So we walked around, he's like, well, I don't smell anything. I don't see anything. Then he shows me pictures of the dead animals. 3 ferrets. These are pet ferrets. They were all pig-piled on top of each other, sleeping. They were sleeping. They're still alive. They're very, very happy. And then when we looked at the source of the letters, they were foreign letters that came from places like Utah. People that had never been in my store. So when I started arguing, and I tend to argue because I'm not going to submit to any of these things, certainly these inspections based on poor information. So when they came in and they presented this stuff and I started arguing, we started looking. I want to see one of these letters. Show me what's going on. And he started looking and he's like, oh, I didn't even see this. This is from Oregon. This is from Utah. And it somehow got on the internet. Somebody took a picture, said my ferrets were dead, and suddenly I'm subjected to that. So, if we are going to be hobbyist breeders and we're subjected to the Department of Agriculture investigators or inspectors, they're going to be coming to people's houses. I deal with these people. They cannot do what they're doing right now with the level of staff they have. And when they come to my place, 99% of their time is wasted. Taxpayer money being funneled through this activity and wasted because it is not warranted. And it's going to happen over and over again. I'm going to have a competitor. I'm going to have a disgruntled customer, disgruntled employee. I can have anybody that's poorly educated about animals see something that they think is a crisis, and they're going to call the Department of Agriculture, and they're going to come flitting in, and they're going to take 2 hours to inspect me, and what do they find? Nothing. There are so many animal keepers in this state that keep their animals wonderfully. Why do you not hear about them? Why is there not hoarding problems? Why is this not a public outcry? Because there isn't a problem. Creating an elitist type law to govern people that are not a problem is a waste. It's a waste of taxpayers' time, money, the state's resources. We really do not need this. We already have excellent laws in place. You need to enforce them in some cases. And my final point, if you take a look at the Great Danes, and they said that the Department of Agriculture couldn't get in to basically investigate the Great Danes. And I guess I don't know a lot about it, but I know it's horrific, but it existed for years. I don't understand what planet we're on. If I do one wrong thing in my pet store, they come in, and I have no problem with it. Animal control, whatever, because I'm not doing anything. But at the end of the day, it's over and over again. But those laws are there. If you have people that are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing and monitoring and policing these situations, we wouldn't be here. All right, any questions?
Thanks for checking out the YouTube video, guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click the bell button to get notifications.
Thank you so much. Dude, you did it the first time.
I don't care if you're filming right now. I'm gonna feed some spiders. I like feeding spiders. That's my favorite thing to do. That's my favorite thing about keeping spiders is feeding.
You like feeding spiders, Matt?
Oh yeah.
This is Matt. He's blonde. And he looks like Ninja. You don't know who that is though, because you're not. You really don't know who Ninja is, the famous live streamer that plays Fortnite? Really? Are you serious?
I thought you were talking about Die Antwoord.
No. Oh, that'd be cool too, but I think that guy's lost his. Nobody. First name is Ninja anymore. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Jeez.